Hey everybody, good afternoon. We're going to be starting in just a couple of minutes. I'm super jacked up and the webinar is it's packed for 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast on what's going to be a snowy day out here. I'm pretty floored.
East Coast.
I'm pretty floored by the number of people that are on. And guys, it's not too late to go grab the link and invite a couple of people. This is really going to be special. It's not going to be happening again in the near future. To the best of my...
Thanks.
No, thanks.
Oh, thanks.
All right, you stay in your cage until I let you out. So, guys, what I'm going to do is, because I hate the interface on this webinar room, anybody who knows me knows I hate the interface on the webinar room. I'm going to go over here. And what I'm going to do is go over to Facebook for a minute. I'm going to start a thread right on my Facebook wall if anybody wants to make comments so I can see what's going on. Let me get Chrome going here. And that way I can see your reaction, feed it back to the Uncommon Mentor, who I'll introduce in just a minute. And this is going to be, I think, just an exceptional afternoon. So you guys can give me a shout out over here as soon as I start this up. And if you don't know, my Facebook is facebook.com/Diane Hochman, Hochman. Let's just get this up. Who's on the webinar? Okay. All right, so that's over there on my Facebook wall, and you guys can give me a shout out. Let me know who is on the webinar. My gosh, there's a lot of people on the webinar. This is awesome. It's going to be like old times from my old buddies. It's going to be like new times because your world's going to tilt today. So let's see what we got, because, again, I'm not doing it. The chat on this particular interface is teeny tiny. The Q&A is teeny tiny. So head over to facebook.com. Hello, Bruiser. Facebook.com/Diane Hochman. Find the thread there. Go ahead and say hello. Let me know who's on. We're going to get started in a couple minutes. All right. Well, Kathy, you want to type in the thread, here. Okay, we got, let me take a look and see everybody who's here. We got Mr. Bob Clark, Christine Ruiz, Kathy Jackson Fong, Stephanie Fincher, Bobby Caldwell, Marty, what's going on? Miss Tracy Housel, old friend of the organization, Robert Bennett, Lisa, Ron Henley, another old buddy, Jamil Grafton, another Triple Emmer, Robin King, Erica Sanchez, Kim, BB Stevens, another old friend of the organization, Barb Williams, let's see, Sigrid, Fred Raleigh, Anya, Audra, Debbie, hello, welcome everybody. Get ready. I do hope you have a notebook. If you happen to have access to, and I'm not talking about your phone, and I'm not talking about your iPad, and I'm not talking about all your fancy dancy stuff you got, I'm talking about pen to paper. And if you happen to be home, a lot of you guys work from home, or if you happen to be in your office and you have access to a new notebook, a brand new one, I would grab it, something fresh, something clean, even if you have to use a legal pad, whatever you got. Go grab it, and what I want you to do is, if we have a relationship with at all, and most of you guys are here because you have a relationship with me and your old friends with my mentor, I want you to go on my Facebook wall. I want you to grab the link, and I want you to share it once, okay? I want you to invite someone here. I want you to be someone for someone. I want you to go out. I want you to tell someone, message them right now and say, come listen to this. There's no agenda here. Nobody's doing anything but sewing into you this afternoon. Now, a lot of people have asked, will this be recorded? Will this, will that? Look, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be given to anybody. I don't know if it's ever going to be made available. I don't know. So you want to go grab a couple people right now before we start. With that being said, I'm going to run back over here. I'm going to monitor what's going on Facebook on my phone. I'm going to go back over to the PowerPoint. I'm going to open it up, and we're going to get started in just a second. But I want you guys, I want to see the power of this. I want to see you guys go load this thing up just a little bit more before we begin. I want to see you guys start this thing just a little bit more. I want to make sure that you guys learn that it doesn't always have to be promoting something because you're going to make a buck. Sometimes you promote something because it's the thing to do. Sometimes you invite people to something because you know it will tilt their world. Sometimes you invite people to something because you can sew into someone without having to get paid. What a novel idea. What a crazy idea. You could actually sew into someone without getting paid. What if you tilted somebody's world and you didn't get paid for it? What would come back to you? So let me just check the Facebook. We're going to get this thing started. I can't see the numbers anymore, so when I come back and I'm able to see the numbers, I want to see something serious. I want to see something. Oh, yeah, you guys are doing a good job. All right, you guys are doing a good job. I'm excited. Let me just check my Facebook wall and see who else is here. Say a couple other meet and greets. We'll bring the man out. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it on my Facebook wall? I know I put it here. Start a thread.
Diane,
Yes, Joe?
I sent you a couple of new texts. I don't know if you saw them.
I did.
All right, good.
This is what I think, and I'll introduce you in a second. I think that what's going to happen is we had a plan, and we're going to go off the rails. Okay? I think that we have.
All right, cool.
And I think we're going to go wherever we go, wherever the universe takes us. And I think that is good with me. So
I will defer to you.
Well, you know what? I have a funny feeling, as always. We spent 6 years together, and in 6 years, I don't think we ever followed our plan, did we?
We spent 10 years. It's been 10 years.
We did.
How long?
6 years running the march, the time before that, etc.
Yeah.
I think what we did was we created some rafters, and then we did art. And that's something that I think is missing out there today. Everybody wants to pre-frame everything, and not pre-frame in the way that we teach. Everybody wants to structure it. It has to be a sequence. It has to be designed to, to create certain things. And there's something to be said for the magic of just spending an afternoon with you without an agenda. So I'm just looking for this.
This call might go longer than an hour. It might go an hour and 10 minutes. It might go an hour and 15.
On the other hand, it might go 20 minutes because we don't know.
I doubt it.
Now, a lot of guys know, a lot of the people that are here today, Joe, are part of the mastermind that I do monthly that you actually did a guest recording for a little while ago. And they know. I always tell them, we're going to go as long as there's a download to go with. We're going to go as long as we go. And that's it. We don't know how long that is. We may go for the rest of the day. Yeah, I don't know. But it's snowing there. I want to get you home safe. So I think we're ready. It is because you know why we're ready, Joe? Because it's 2:07 p.m. on the East Coast. Good afternoon.
I'm
I'm
a go.
You ready? Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Diane Hochman, and I am, first of all, I feel like I'm time traveling back in time. I'm so excited to be here with you this afternoon for an afternoon with an uncommon mentor. I'm excited. Back in 2005, I went to a seminar, and I happened to run into someone, and we had lunch, and both of us had a conversation about a man named Joe Schroeder. And I had bought one of Joe's courses several years earlier, and the story goes like this, and most of you have heard it. I came across one of his publications. I was so enthralled, I got onto his email newsletter. I would read it every day, and I was a broke housewife trying to find a way to be home with my kids and have a better way. And what I did was I literally rolled quarters. I had a bucket, and I saved quarters until I had $217, right? $197 plus shipping. $217. I went down and to the Piggly Wiggly, as Joe would say, and got a money order and sent it off to a P.O. box in Ledgewood, New Jersey, which sounds kind of crazy when you think about it today. I sent a money order with money that basically I didn't have to a complete stranger And lo and behold, a set of tapes and a manual arrived. And that set of tapes and that manual changed my life. I read about it, and I didn't really know exactly how to do what he did because I didn't have any access to him at the time. But what I did know is I could apply what he taught me right to some of the products and services I had. And that was when I discovered attraction marketing. And that was when I put together my first system, and I went from chasing people in the parking lot of the supermarket, and I'm not kidding, and littering every bathroom in the state of Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey. We'd ride around and hang up flyers and signs on poles. That was the way we did our business. I went from doing that to having my phone ring off the hook, because remember, this is pre-heavy-duty internet. My phone ringing off the hook every day with people calling up with their credit card in hand, ready to place an order for my products. So to say that it was a change is an understatement. So I went to this event and ran into this guy and started having a conversation. We were talking about jokes. We hadn't seen him in a little while. And I went home and I went on the internet and I looked at a couple things, and I realized that the dude had just started writing some pieces again. And I sent him an email, the famous email. The subject line was, "Where the hell have you been?" And he wrote back, he called me, we hit it off, and we started working together, and that was back in 2005. For 6, 7, however many years it was, glorious years, we ran an organization called the Million Mind March. And alumni from the March have gone on to do some remarkable things. And I also know there's a lot of people that didn't stay in this field but went off to do other things and carried the ideas and philosophies that we taught them with them. I hear from people every week. And about that, by the way, that's what that logo is on the crystal ball there. I hear from people every single week talking about the things that they learned during that time period. So, you know, I get emotional about it. This is me, and the man I'm about to introduce you to, his name is Joe Schroeder. And this was us in New York City. We took a group into the city. In fact, I don't know if Tim Berger's on today, but we took them down into the village into some really cool spots. And we started masterminding and having an incredible time. So basically, Joe's, I don't know, he'll tell you the story in a minute or whatever he wants to tell you, but basically he stepped away from all of this for a while. And we've been in touch on and off over the years. And the other day he called me up and he said, "Let's put on a show." And I said, "All right, let me go gather a crowd." And a crowd certainly has arrived. So I'm pretty excited to introduce you guys to an uncommon mentor, Mr. Joe Schroeder. Joe, are you there?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
All right, cool. Cool.
They're looking at a picture of us when we were young and beautiful in New York City, a whole bunch of us and stuff. So now what I thought we'd do, Joe, I mean, if you're amenable, and if you're not, we certainly can go any direction you want. I just pulled up a bunch of, some of my favorite quotes from your work, and I thought I'd toss them at you and see if any of them turned you on and you wanted to talk about them. You certainly can say, "I don't want to talk about that," or pass, and or you can go in any direction you want to take us in.
Cool.
But can I throw the one that I say most often at you and see if you feel like saying about it?
Do it.
Because every time I say it, everybody gasps and goes, "Oh my gosh, what a mind tilt." I'm looking for people that are looking for me, which is the whole core of this marketing philosophy. I'm looking for people that are looking for me. I don't chase anybody. I haven't in years. What made you get to that place? Where'd you get that from?
After, starting in multi-level in the mid-'90s and doing 100, 200, 300 presentations for hundreds of people that weren't interested, and just getting to a place of my own self-respect. I needed to keep my integrity. I needed to keep my dignity while I was doing business. And that didn't show itself through begging, through chasing, through placating people, to speaking to a prospect, and then out of courtesy, listening to them ramble on about the weather for 10 minutes. That's not why I was there. You know, I was there to do business. So I'm looking for people that are looking for me.
Which is interesting, Joe, because today that's what a lot of people do.
That's a discipline. So it's not just a saying that sounds good. It's a discipline. When do I get off the phone with this person? When do I cut bait and never talk to that person again? When do I stop chasing that person? I'm looking for people that are looking for me. And if I'm in a sacred place, I repeat, if I'm in a sacred place and I'm acting within dignity and goodwill, God's going to provide those people. When they show up, do business. Don't get pulled around by the nose because you want to fit in. Don't get pulled around by the nose by a prospect because, oh boy, I've got a live person that wants to talk to business. I don't know if they want to talk to business. A lot of them don't want to talk to business. They want to take your ear and take your attention someplace else. I'm looking for people that are looking for me. Do you have the guts to say goodbye? Do you have the guts to walk away? Do you have the guts to stand up for what you believe in? And do you have the guts to be a business person with a capital B and a capital P? And that's it.
I'm taking a deep breath because, of course, when we were working together, Facebook was just being born and it wasn't what it is today. And I watch people wandering around and they spend their whole day messaging people on Facebook, hoping that they'll talk to them, and then spending, inordinate amounts of time talking about nothing because they're not holding this philosophy. And I like what you said about discipline. And in fact, the name of your book, guys, and if anybody wants to get it, it was just put up on Kindle. It wasn't available for years. It's Disciplines of Doership by Joe Schroeder.
You have to go on Amazon and you have to type in Joe Schroeder book, Disciplines of Doership. Joe Schroeder book, Disciplines of Doership.
There you go. And the key word here is discipline, because you have to have discipline, and he used the word dignity, right? When we go around pandering, he always taught me the term point, don't pander. When we go around pandering to people, instead of having the discipline to stand still and attract them to us, we tend to not be attractive at all. So Joe, on a corollary of that, and then we'll go to the next one, is what you stood still. You taught me this, and I teach my students this. You stood still. You advertised. You were visible. People knew who you were. You had information products available, but you stood still. You didn't chase people. And yet, the flip side of that is you were always talking to people. You were always talking to people. You were always lifting people up. You were always helping them change their self-image, right? But you didn't chase anybody. So what advice would you give to somebody who knows that they're in that chasing space? How do you make that transition? How do you go from being the person that's chasing after people and begging to being a person who understands the discipline of standing still?
I have to cough. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
If you guys have a notepad and paper, you might want to write this down. I'm not convinced that money makes money. And people don't make money. There's nobody that's ever made money. You don't go in the basement and make money. And I always used to say, if you sell money and you can't prove it, you're not going to make any. I used to say, if you sell money and it cannot be proved, the people will leave. I'm going to say it again. If you sell money and you can't prove it, then the people are going to leave, because what you sold was kind of not true. My truth, to answer Diane's question, was if I sold increase, if I sold word, if I sold a feeling, if I sold a discipline of being, that could be replicated and proved within 24 hours by the student, and then they wouldn't leave because they'd want more process, more word, more discipline, more increase into being. And as Diane Hochman said 16 minutes ago, of the 500 to 1,000 people we had at Million Mind March, and it wasn't 2,000 and it wasn't 5,000, and the reason was because we weren't selling money. We were selling disciplines of doership. We were teaching words. So it goes back to what Diane said 16 minutes ago, was that a lot of our alumni from that school, from that club, a lot of them ended up making a boatload of money on the internet, but 80%, 60 to 80%, ended up making a boatload of money in eBay, on classified advertising, on something offline, on something that they were doing that they had passion for that wasn't necessarily multi-level. But they used what they learned as a discipline, as a being, as word. They used all of that because they became 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Because they became 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And there's 15 other ways to make money on the internet, and all of you know those 15 ways. It doesn't have to be affiliate marketing. It doesn't have to be multi-level. So I think it's way more profound. It's like Diane Hochman. I'm not sure what she does to make money, but she does coaching, she does ad copywriting. I asked you the other day, I said, you got a program? She goes, yeah, it starts cheap, like $10, $20, and it scales up. What's cool about a Diane Hochman program, or one like it, is that by default, the people that you bring into the program with Diane are learning mindset. They're learning discipline. They're learning increase. You change somebody's self-image, you change their life. You change somebody's self-image, you change their life. You change somebody's self-image and you change what they believe that they're capable of doing, and then they become 2 feet tall and bulletproof. Then they become 4 feet tall and bulletproof. Then they became 8 feet tall and bulletproof. Imagine all of these philosophies spurred into, put into, hooked into your grandchildren and your grandkids. Diane Hochman and myself, forgive me, our kids are rock stars. I won't give you their resumes, but they're rock stars. How could you be a child of Diane Hochman and Joe Schroeder? How could you be their children and not grow up to be absolute rock stars? And not one of them does multi-level, and not one of them is on the internet. So the caveat that I'm giving to you is that there's a good chance that you're hitting home runs on the internet. There's a good chance that you're soon going to be hitting home runs. But the better news is that soon, you could be hitting home runs in someplace else in a different category, in the category you're already in, or in a category on the internet that isn't necessarily what you're doing today. And that's word.
You know, I'm glad you brought up the kids, because I was going to say that for a lot of folks, they just came out and listened and were part of the mastermind, and they sewed that into their kids. I'll never forget, because I grew up listening on your tapes, you know, back when cars had cassette decks. And I used to listen to your tapes a lot before I met you. And I'll never forget one day I was pouting about something, and my daughter turned to me. She goes, "Ma, you don't got to get it right. You just got to get it going." And it's like out of the mouths of babes. She was correcting me when I started sucking my thumb, when I started feeling sorry for myself, and my child had taken this by osmosis and turned around and tossed it back at me. Just so, Joe, I know you're not seeing the screen because you're dialing in, but the rest of you guys, I just brought up Amazon. That's the cover. That's what the book looks like, just so you guys know what you're looking for, bright yellow cover. You know, and there's no proceeds from the book. You know, we didn't bring you here to sell you a book. There's nothing in the back end of it. It's just a book that was written that contains a lot of these ideas that we're very briefly talking about today. Definitely worth a download. I have like 7 copies downstairs. I have like 7 versions of the book as it was written, and definitely grab it. So that was another one, Joe, that you don't got to get it right. You just got to get it going. And I didn't even make a slide for that. But that, again, that phrase was picked up by a bunch of people. There were a bunch of people saying it during a time period because it was so profound. And I will literally, to this day, it's 20 years later, I've been in this industry for 20 years, I say that to myself all the time because I'm not technical. People know that. I tried for forever to keep up with the internet kids, and I realized that that's just not my talent. And I don't have to get it right. I just got to get it going. You taught me that it doesn't need to be slick. It could be homemade. It could be simple. It could be basic. And to this day, I've made a lot of money with a homemade newsletter, with homemade little stuff. Can you talk about that to somebody who, because today the stakes are higher and everybody thinks they need to have products and everybody thinks they need to be on camera all day. Everybody thinks they need to have professional photo shoots. And I resisted all of that temptation because of what you taught me.
I'm going to say something that's very unpopular. It might make Diane wince. It's not negative. It's not negative, and it's not bad. If I had to do something today, it'd be a $10, $20 get-in, with the next step being $100 or $200. It wouldn't be more than a $500 third step, and it would be laced with word, motivation, self-help. That's and I don't have anything like that to do, but if I was going to do something, it would be that. I would have no interest in making a picture of myself, creating a product, being a guru, doing coaches, being a coach. If I was one of you guys, that's what I would look for. Because if you brought somebody into it, the worst thing that would happen to them is they'd become bigger as a people. An easy get-in, a second tier at $100, $200, a $500 third tier. But the program wasn't really selling money. It was selling the idea that we can exchange money the way they do on the stock market. We can exchange money amongst ourselves and make $1,000, $5,000 a month, but the actual product was increase. It was word. That's kind of what we did at Million Mind Marks. somebody should create another Million Mile March. I would join it. Diane Hochman says that a lot of the people here today have to be creators, that you got to create stuff. I don't got time for that. I'm busy doing what I'm doing. Diane Hochman says you got to be slick. Well, who's slick? I'm not slick. Why you got to be slick? When did this industry turn into you got to be slick? And what happened to this industry since I've been gone for the past 10 years, where you got to give a guru $5,000, $10,000, $15,000? I mean, there's times when that's okay. I'm going to put that in dark red blood writing. There's times when that's appropriate. If you're dealing with somebody who's proven over 10, 20 years and they're doing private, I understand that. But Diane tells me there's a whole bunch of people out there that are taking coaching of $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 from hundreds and hundreds of people. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I would find somebody, if I was you guys, I don't care if you're already making $100,000 on the internet or more. I'd find somebody who's got more game than you, and I'd give them $500, $1,000, $200, $2,000 and say, can I come where you live and get in a hotel and hang out with you for 3 days? Can I fly out to you, stay in a hotel down the street, and hang out with you for 3 days? Your life would change.
Which is what I did.
I don't want to learn your system. I want to learn about you.
Which is what I did.
And I did. That's exactly what you did with me.
I go to New Jersey once or twice a month just to spend an afternoon to lunch. And the irony is, everybody thinks that we would sit with a laptop and do this. Joe, did you ever critique any of my copy? Ever?
No.
Yeah, I never gave you anything to critique. I never asked you to look at a. I never asked you to check my work. What we did was we spent time and I learned how you thought. That's what we did.
That's it. That was it.
I didn't ever bring you my thing and ask you to pick, and it's interesting because that's an epidemic right now. People think that when you find someone to mentor you, that they're supposed to, check your homework like they're your 10th grade English teacher. People think that. Here's the flip side of that. You always knew what I was up to, and if you saw something exceptional, you'd call me out. You'd be like, oh my gosh, that was really awesome. And if you saw something horrific that was going to hurt me, you'd tell me. But everything that was in the middle was just my discipline of doing the work and learning how to write and learning how to speak. I must have done 1,000 conference calls that you heard part of that you didn't say a word about. But once in a blue moon, I'd do one that was off the hook. And you'd call me the next day. And you'd give me some more information, because some more help, because the answer is in doing. And when you do it, then a mentor can give you more. And until you do something, you can pay for the rest of your life. But if you haven't taken any action, it's worthless. The reason why I got from you what I got from you was simply because I did. And a teacher loves a learner. You couldn't resist it. Can I change the topic? Joseph? Louis? Did I lose you?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I'm here.
Okay. Can I change the topic?
Everybody thought I quit. Go ahead.
I did. I want to ask you.
I want to tell people, I want someone to start a program. Here's a program I want to join. Go ahead.
I want to ask you a couple questions. You know what? The slides, and we're not going to do the slides because now I'm all fired up. Like back in the day. I'm fired up. And so now I get to grill you. It's good. You name out.
What does the 099 stand for?
099. What are you talking about?
I sent you a text. What does 099? What is the 099?
Where are you seeing 099 that you're referring to?
Remember I texted you before the call?
Let me look, because I have a question, then I'll do yours. See, this is what, by the way, this is what we do. We bicker. 099.
If this is bickering, I'm in love.
I'll see your text. Okay, I want to ask you one thing because we're talking about programs, and then we'll move into some of this other cool stuff that you sent me. Okay. They call me.
Tim Berger, is Tim Berger on the call?
I don't know, Burgermeister, Meister Burger. If you are, do you have my number? Text me or message me on Facebook. Let me know if you are. There's too many.
Is Jerry Whip on the call?
Well, here's the problem, Joe. There's so many people on the call that I am not kidding. There's a lot of people on here.
Oh my Lord.
There's a lot of people on here. Can't scroll through to find everybody.
All right.
So maybe they can identify themselves if they are.
My prosperity prospers them. There you go.
There's a lot of people on here. So before we...
My prosperity prospers me, and my prosperity prospers 10,000 people.
That's it.
My prosperity prospers me. It prospers me. And that prospers 10,000 people. That's biblical. Go ahead. What do you got? What do you got?
I want to talk business for a minute, and then we're going to go back to that stuff. Because I have a walking reward for 10,000 people, all these other ideas. We can't fit them all in one call. But, you know, they tend to refer to me as the queen of attraction marketing, which I think is hysterical because I had nothing to do with creating it or anything else. I was just the kid that learned how to do it. And you just said, because a lot of these people are in network marketing, right? And they want to figure out, well, this is all great, Joe, but how do I recruit? This is all great, Joe, but how do I recruit? And when you created, and by the way, guys, for any of you guys that don't know, he created like the first attraction marketing system, the first affiliate system with info products that led to a network marketing company. I was so locked into my company. I love my company. And the next thing I know, I was signing up with Joe's company because the marketing was so good. But you see, he didn't lead with it. In fact, it was very hard to even find out what company he was in because the company, right, the residual income was woven inside, because people always say, Diane, you look like you're never selling anything. But I'm always selling something because the residual income program was woven inside of the other stuff that you did, the conference calls, Joe used to do facts on demands and teleseminars and all this other cool stuff. Can you talk for just 2 seconds about how you develop that concept of putting the MLM on the back instead of in the front? Because that was revolutionary when you started. And a lot of people think that means I'm not allowed to name my company, which is ironic because you were exceptionally proud of your company. You were like a poster child for your company. But people, they can't quite wrap their heads around, how do you lead with some information or a $10 product, a $10 get-in, and then how do you bring people around to back end them into your monthly auto ship? How do you do that?
If you guys got a piece of paper and pencil, and I'm going to think most of you already know this, Diane asked a very big question. This is going to be a 7-minute answer. Diane asked, your question was so developed. Can you ask it one more time? I don't need time thinking about the answer, but your question was so developed. Ask it again slowly.
Well, can I ask it in a different way too?
Well, hold on a second. And the people on the call, you should write down this question because then I'm going to give the answer. And then on the top of it, you can write in the top corner, $1 million.
Well, here's what's interesting. A lot of people know I work with an affiliate program that I lead with, and I've made over $1 million with that affiliate program, which people, and you made, a lot of money with your info products. A lot of people can't understand how I did that because they don't understand this concept. So, Joe, I'm in an MLM. I really want to recruit a lot of people, but everybody else is talking about the MLM, and I want to do something different. How do I lead with something other than my MLM and then show them my MLM and get them in?
So I called that a funded proposal. And I coined the word funded proposal back, I think, in 1997, 1998. Mike Dillard was one of the students, and then he went off and he taught funded proposal, and he did gangbusters with it. So you got people like myself, Hochman, Mike Dillard, Robert Blackman, Gail Calvert. You got a whole bunch of people doing a funded proposal. The people I just mentioned, I didn't mention them because they were students of mine. I mentioned them because those are classic, big-name examples that did it. I was an advocate. You want to write that down? I was an advocate. I was not a distributor. I understood that I was a distributor when I joined an MLM. You should be writing this down. And I had to waive all of my rights. So if I joined an MLM, I had to agree to, I'm not an employee. They can get rid of me at any time. And I can recruit 3 to 5 people a month, but it might not be enough because I didn't do enough volume. So even though I'm bringing 2, 3, 5, 6 people a month into the network marketing, the company set it up where there's not enough volume, so I'm only going to get paid a couple of dollars. So I figured out early, back in the 90s, not to be a network marketer, to be an advocate. And an advocate is somebody that fights for other people. That's what an advocate is somebody who fights for other people. This goes back 20 years. This goes back before you guys were even on the internet. And I created mail order products that sold for between $10, $200, $500, $800. Where we could exchange money amongst ourselves and get paid. Oh, by the way, here's a multi-level that I do. I taught people to be business owners, not MLMers. So you own your own business and you're creating cash flow immediately. You're not waiting for a downline. How many of you have recruited 5, 10, 15, 20 people and nobody recruited, nobody duplicated? I said, you don't have to recruit anybody. Let's just sell information about marketing, about mindset, about motivation, about mail order. Let's do something that they do on Wall Street. Let's exchange money amongst ourselves today and then turn a profit tomorrow. So by the third day, we're already in profitability. Yeah, but Joe, I'm in an MLM and they say that I can't do that. Well, then you're not in America. Then you're not in free enterprise. Then if my MLM company says I can't be an affiliate, I can't do that program. But where it came from 3 years of doing multi-level and recruiting 200 people, but only making $1,000, only making $2,000, only making $3,000. A lot of you didn't hear what I just said. Before I created this philosophy of funded proposal, before I used to teach the idea of put the MLM on the back end, put cash flow up front, I had already been a star performer at Melaleuca back in 1995. I had already recruited 200 people into a program called Life Plus in 96. I had already recruited 200 people into a program called 4 More in 1998. and I still wasn't making $5,000 or $10,000 a month. Want to know why? Because they set it up where you had to have certain volume on certain levels to get paid big money. So I may have recruited lots of people, but because they didn't duplicate and because the numbers didn't square up, I wasn't making what I thought was adult money. So I said, I'm not going to throw away the baby with the bathwater, meaning I'm not going to throw away multi-level. But what I will do is I'll put multi-level as a back end, not a front end. Front end is going to be cash flow. Front end is going to be mindset. If you hang with me, I can't guarantee you'll get paid, but if you hang with me, your life will change. Your children's life will change. Your grandchildren's lives will change. How you are treated in community will change because you're going to become 2 feet tall and bulletproof. Then you're going to become 4 feet tall and bulletproof. Then you're going to become 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And then you have a legacy. So I use network marketing as a back end, as a stepchild rather than a grandchild. Multi-level for me was a stepchild, not a grandchild. That's my answer.
And I'll say, guys, that Joe taught me that the network marketing company or whatever you're doing for the residual income, that was where your club hung out. So it was never about whether the products were great, although we picked companies that the products were great. It was never about the pay plan. It was never about all the stuff that people running around trying to convince people theirs is the best. It was about, hey, this is where we're hanging out so we can all make residual now. And so it was always very easy to move people into wherever we wanted to move them because we became a club. We became a group. We became we linked arms. So it was about finding a good, safe, decent home for folks, as opposed, and then people, those of you that know me, start to think about, well, where do I hang out? A company that's been around for 10 years, that is stable, that's paid me over $1 million. That's why I'm there. It's not the hottest pay plan, the hottest, coolest, this, that, and the next thing, but it's a place where I can bring people. And when you wrap your head around that, things change. I never do the slick. I never do the fancy. I never do the hottest deal. And I remember one time I was like, Joe, they're making so much money. He pulled me back by the collar. Joe, it's the coolest new thing. He pulled me back by the collar. Joe, you know what? That program 10, 12 years ago, it's gone. It's been gone. And every one of those things that would have lit me up if I didn't have this governing philosophy would be gone. I'm still standing. All right, let me look at these texts you sent me. I don't know what 99 meant. That was such a good answer. It's just crazy. Let's see. I still don't know what 99 meant, Joe. Oh, you want numbers? Is that what you want?
I want dollar amounts.
There's no dollars here. No dollars. It's love.
Never mind.
Just duh.
Okay, never mind.
You want me to throw something else at you, or you have a topic?
I want everybody to buy 2 books. The author is Stuart Wilde. W-Y is in yellow. Stuart Wilde. I want you to buy his book, The Trick to Money is Having Some. The Trick to Money is Having Some. And then his other book is called Affirmations. Affirmations. And then get a book called Disciplines of Doership.
Okay, so I'm showing them Stuart Wilde's book, and I've already showed them your book. And I remember when you made me get Trichomani is having some, and I remember the first time I read it, I found it to be incredibly offensive. I found it to be incredibly brusque. I couldn't, and I had to look at my own value set and look in the mirror and see what was holding me back. This book was life-changing. And I dare say, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but I'll just say it because we're amongst friends, it was in my bathroom for years. And I'd pick it up, sorry, too much information, but I'd pick it up and I'd look at it, because after I read it, I just left it in there, and I'd pick it up and I read that thing over and over and over and over.
I want a program where I can hand out business cards and have people call an 800 number. And the 800 number points to a live conference call, and it happens twice a day. And the get-in is $100 and the back end is $500, and that's it. And it's 10% exchanging money and 90% mindset. So when somebody creates that program, let me know and I'll join.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to create copy. I don't want to create Facebook ads. I don't want to be an imbecile on the internet. I want something old school that anybody can do.
Everybody sticks
That's
their
what I want.
old school. I'm old school. I'm really old school. Everybody sticks their nose up at it. Then they come back to me 2 years later broke, $55,000 in debt for all the stuff they bought, and they go, oh, Diane, I need help. I need help. Those big bad wolves all got me, and what they didn't realize, it was them. It was them. We are at the scene of every crime. We decide who we're going to run with. We decide who we're going to listen to. We decide to jump around and not. How many of you just wrote down the name of this book and you're not going to go get it? How many of you guys have the names of a million books that somebody with knowledge told you to get that you didn't bother to get, or even worse, you bought it and you left it in a stack on the bookshelf?
If you have kids, if you have children in your life, 10 years old or younger, twice a week ask them, say, what bad thing happened at school today? What bad stuff is happening? Nobody asked that question. What bad stuff is happening? And they're going to say nothing. And you say, no, for real. What sucks about today? And then see the answers you get. And I'll leave it at that.
I mean,
when your kids wake up in the morning, say, why do you insist on being in a good mood today? When your kids walk in from school or your grandkids walk over to your house, say, why do you always insist on being 10 feet tall and bulletproof? What makes you so happy today?
I just put up on the screen, Joe, one of my favorite quotes of yours. A lot of times my favorite quotes of yours are very different than everybody else's. I was taking surveys. This is one, and I think a lot of people, they hear it and they don't really get it, and I love this one. Are you trying to learn chess from a checkers champion?
That's a good one.
That's an
oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, every time I go to make a decision about something, I go, is this a chess champion or a checkers champion? What do I want?
That's an oldie but a goodie.
This person have what I need. There's such a rage right now of everybody thinks they're a coach or a teacher, etc., that people are spending time learning checkers when they wanted to learn chess. Do you have any thoughts on that, or do you just want to move on?
Oh, I have thoughts on that. If you don't have 500 hours of audio tape, you're not worth me paying you as a coach. Or if you haven't written 3 or 4 books, you're not worthy of me being a coach. Just because you showed me a check of $35,000 doesn't mean that you're a coach. It means you're the guy that made $35,000. That doesn't mean you're a coach. If you don't have 100 hours on audio tape teaching, you're not a coach. If you don't have it, maybe you don't have books, but you got to have 100 hours of audio tape of you teaching. You're a teacher. If you have 3 or 4 books, you're a teacher. And if you have money on top of those requirements, I'm in. I'll study with you.
Now I want to flip it up.
Now, based on what I just said, everybody who you think is a coach is not a coach. Based on what I just said, there's people on this call that think they're a coach, but you're not qualified to be a coach.
Now I want to flip it over, because this is my thought process too on being qualified to actually be a student, because everybody thinks they're going to class. But if you're learning from someone and they have hours worth of content that's available to you, whether free or paid, and you haven't taken the time to go through a speck of it, you're not a student. That's how I know. People come to me, I can tell by the virtue of their questions whether they're worth putting any time into. I spent my time, when I was learning from you, I tell people this story all the time. You used to call, right? You'd call periodically. On a whim, you'd call. I had a notebook by every phone with questions for you from going through your materials. I had a notebook by every phone because my job was to keep you on the phone as long as I could, to keep you talking, because some gold was going to fall out of your mouth. And most people just sit, they want to pay $5,000 and they want someone to give them some magical something, but they don't want to do any of the work. You sat under a tree, you got that course, you got a copywriting course, you sat under a tree, you knocked off from work and you sat there and you worked. Nobody wants to work.
If I wanted to do something, if I wanted to be a magician, if I wanted to make $10,000 a month in network marketing, if I wanted to be an ad copywriter and make $10,000 a month in mail order, if I wanted to sell meat and seafood door to door, in everything I've ever done, I've paid people to teach me how to do it. I've paid people that let me watch them do it. I paid people that didn't know how to teach it, that did not know how to teach it. And I said, can I watch you do that which it is I want to do? Can I pay you to watch you do what it is you do? I want you to go on YouTube and I want you to type in covert hypnosis, C-O-V-E-R-T, covert hypnosis. And I want you to spend 10 hours studying covert hypnosis. And that's all I got to say about that. Covert hypnosis, C-O-V-E-R-T. Conversational hypnosis. Conversational hypnosis. That's all I want to say about that.
Hey, Joe, how do you boil an egg?
Well, the question isn't how do you boil an egg? The question is who cares how to boil an egg? That's the question. See, here's how you boil an egg. Now, I'm going to tell you how to boil an egg perfectly. But the lesson is not in how to boil an egg. The lesson is why would you ask? So the question is how do you boil an egg perfectly, whereas when you peel it, it comes off like nobody's business. You put eggs into a pot of cold water. I said cold water. You bring the water to a boil for 7 to 8 minutes. Then you take the eggs covered, I said covered, you put it off the flame for 10. Then you put them in ice water for 30 minutes. And you got to keep changing the ice because they're really hot. Then what you end up with is you end up with an egg. Very few people can explain that. If you ask a lot of people how to boil an egg, they'll go, oh, you just do blah, 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 blah. They really can't explain it. But the power of what I just said is there is a syntax, S-Y-N-T-A-X. There's a syntax. There's a methodology. There's a system. There's a process that works within what you want to do. Somebody is doing what you want to do and making $5,000 or $10,000 a month. Number one, what you want to do, somebody else is doing. Number two, you may not be qualified to do it. Number three, you may not have the aptitude to do it. You might be physically incapable of asking people for $500. You might be physically incapable of asking people for $500. You might be physically incapable of finding 2 hours a day to do your business on the site. You might be incapable of doing that. And nobody ever told you that before. My sister is incapable of doing network marketing. My sister is incapable of asking people for money. And yet she found a way to collect $6,000, $10,000 a month off of eBay. She found a way to collect $6,000 and $10,000 a month on eBay. There's a lesson there somewhere for somebody. For somebody on this call, that's a lesson. That's a light bulb.
Love it. Let me see. We've been going for an hour. You want to keep going?
It feels like 2 hours, for God's sake.
Really? It's that terrible to be back hanging out with Hochman? It's terrible.
Yep.
Terrible. You want to talk about when you're having a conversation with someone else? Do you want to talk about being a walking reward? Do you want? I wrote this down. Nobody ever brings up this quote. Patience is the striking.
Does anybody? Do people have a way, Diane, to ask you questions?
Yeah, for those of you that are listening, I have a thread going on my Facebook wall, facebook.com/Diane Hochman. If anybody, I'll go over there and take a look. If anybody wants to ask Joe a question, you certainly can. Actually, we have the Q&A on here. I just hate it. I don't have my glasses on. We have the Q&A in here. You could do it in the webinar room. It's annoying. Let me see.
You could open up the call if we trust people, and they're not going to cuss. Is that possible?
Well, this isn't a call. It's a webinar. But I can unmute an individual. Let me see. Somebody write me in the Q&A, guys, if somebody wants to come out and ask a question. Tom DeMayo's here, just so you know. Nagel's here. I think Josh Peak is on the line. A lot of old buddies. Let's see. People are saying they remember the quick link system, which is awesome. Let's see. I remember from way back, Joe would give word. And Diane. Wait, Joe, let me see what somebody said. Wait, it says, how I remember from way back when, Joe would give word and Diane would explain it to all of us. I love that. Go ahead.
That's true, too.
It is true.
That's true.
Call and I would decode you. Yeah, I love it.
That's true.
Master Dan Abusic's on the line. A lot of old friends. That's awesome. Were you going to say something?
There's people on this line that use Joe Schroeder to make a sugar load of money. Send me $1,000. I'm serious. Send me a tribute. Send me $1,000.
Okay.
That's right.
Mafia man. All right. I'm just scrolling down to see. Okay. One of That's
funny. That's funny. You just said Mafia man.
Well, that's how you explained it to me. So let me go off on that for a minute, because people don't get this. People don't get this. And nobody gets it. I used to come to you and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was this young, housewife girl that wanted to learn how to make all this money. And you would be like, look, go bring me food. I'm like, what are you talking about? Go get some people, bring them around, let's talk to them, let's get them on board with us, go collect them. And he said, this is the mafia. You bring them and you get a percentage of it. Guys, when you go out and you do work, right, you don't get the whole thing. Everybody has to really, really, really understand this, because this is a thought process that's holding you back. When you have a job, you're worth so much and your employer pays you part of what your value is. Does everybody understand that? They buy you wholesale and sell you retail, right? If you're a lawyer, right, you might bill $350 an hour, but you don't get $350 because it goes back to the firm, et cetera, et cetera. When you're in an MLM, you might bring in so much in sales volume and then you earn a percentage, right? So when you're working with someone who's feeding you, who's teaching you, who's building you, you want to make sure that that person is getting paid. People don't understand that. You want to make sure that the person, because a lot of people think they're the issue, Joe. A lot of people think that it's all about them. And then when the guy above them is gone, they can't make money anymore. When the voice is gone, they're lost, because everybody's trying to keep it to themselves instead of pass it around. You taught me about circulation. You taught me about, that's why I always protect the golden goose, whatever I'm working with, whoever the company is, whoever the upline is, whoever the pro with, I'm always making sure they're getting paid, because without them, nobody gets paid. People don't get that.
Yep.
Get that. They don't get that at all. So what do you want? You want to hear from someone? You want to wrap it up? You want to go back and forth?
Is there a way? Is there a way for anybody to ask any questions?
Yes, I can. They're writing in the Q&A now, or I can unmute someone.
Okay.
Let me come up with. I'll toss them at you. You're being asked to share your famous turkey recipe. You're
no.
You're being asked about, can you talk about being a walking reward for people? Let's see what else. I don't have my glasses on. You're being asked, how did you get to such a laid-back style? Which people ask me too. I'm very matter-of-fact, very laid-back. I don't know if you want to talk about
The person that asked that question, ask them, what does that mean? I want to know what that means if you want to bring that person back on board.
Cheryl,
I want to talk about that.
Write me again. There's a lot of questions here, so I'm scrolling them. Write me again and tell me, what does that mean about his laid-back style?
What does that mean?
Okay, there's a lot of the usual, if you had to start over, what was your defining moment, yada, yada. People are asking, what do you think about MLM today?
I already told people. I told people 20 minutes ago what I would join today.
Yeah, some of these may be a little old because I'm just scrolling through them, so it may not be that they didn't listen. It may be that. Let me work backwards. It's even better. Let's see.
I want to know the person that said laid back style. I want to know what that means.
Cheryl, right back about that.
What does that mean, and how does she know I'm laid back, and what does that mean?
She said, sure, you don't run after people. You set high DMOs and goals for yourself. You set yourself up as an attractive force, a point of curiosity. Which kind of goes back to what we were talking about staying still and not chasing after people.
Yes, that's a question somebody would have to pay $1,000 to get coached on.
Well, if you did coaching anymore.
I'm just saying that I'm answering the question.
The irony is, I've answered this. Let me tell you, Joe, I've answered this in the particular group that this person is in probably a dozen times. Sometimes the answer's sitting right in front of you. Let's see. Oh, no, we're getting a lot of those. If you had to start over, if you had one piece of advice, those types of, those types of questions. Okay, this is a fairly good question. You talked about, what you're capable of, right? And some people aren't capable of certain things. How do you know when patience versus when, you know, how do you know when you're just not capable or when you need to be patient and keep working at it? How do you know?
That's a profound.
Yeah, it's a good question.
That's a profound question.
This is Christine Ruiz. She's definitely one of our ilk. She's very teachable. She picks up on stuff. And I say that, I don't say that lightly. You know, I don't say that easily because it's hard to find one.
Somebody said, ask the question again, patience versus what?
Well, what is the balance of having patience, keeping at it, and insanity? Like, when do you know this is not my calling? When you should say patience, because sometimes you're 2 feet away from gold and you give up.
I used to talk about that. It's like if I teach you how to do meat and seafood, if you can't sell meat and seafood the next day, you weren't born to sell meat and seafood. Because I'm going to show you how to sell meat and seafood door to door, which is what I do today. That's what I do today. I had that business through Million Mile March. I did meat and seafood door to door and serviced houses with Omaha steaks. When I didn't need the money, I just loved it. If I taught you how to...
You, by the way,
I taught you.
You always loved, no matter how much money you were making and all the things you were doing, you always stuck with that original love of the sales. You always loved it. You always have loved it. In fact, I remember working with you and you're like, look, I can't do this today. I got to go out. I got to hit the pavement. There's something for you being out on the streets that feeds you, that gives you life.
Yeah.
I always thought it was interesting because most people are wanting to
whatever you guys got going on off the internet, keep doing it and make money. Keep doing it. Don't give up what you're doing. And people don't want to hear that. For me, the internet was addition, not subtraction. For me, the internet was income number 9, not income number 1.
You guys got
be 10 feet tall and bulletproof at what you're doing. You've already invested. God knows you've invested your life into it. Do really well at it, and then just use something on the internet as income number 7. That's what I always taught.
For sure.
If a person said they wanted to be a writer, if you lay out writings from Joe Schroeder or Diane Hochman, if you put it on a table, and you tried to replicate it, and you couldn't, you're not a writer. And then next week, next week, you don't replicate Diane and Joe. You use that philosophy of writing, and you write your own. And then the third week, when you write, it's all you. But if you can't make it through if you can't make it through the first week, you don't have the aptitude. You weren't born to be a writer. So that's the difference between persistence and insanity, in my opinion.
It's profound. It's profound. Gosh. You know, I'm.
It's like if I join the program, right? If I join the program, let's just say, okay? Let's just pretend it, right? And I'm expected to make videos. I can't make videos. I wasn't born to make videos. So I can't make videos. I don't want to join a program. I don't want to join a program where I'm induced to make videos. Okay. I don't want to join a program where I'm induced to place ads on the internet because no one's going to look at them anyway.
Okay, stop, because I want you all to hear this. By the way, Joe, there's somebody on the line who just sent me a text. They're a multi-million-dollar annual earner, loving what they're hearing, and that person wasn't born for video. Okay, they don't do a lot of videos, they don't do lives, they don't do these certain things, and they're making multi-million dollars annually. Okay?
Yeah.
You just said, look, you don't want to be induced to do something that's not your nature. And I dare say that of the bulk of the people that are here, they think that somebody told them. See, you told me to do things that I refused to do, and I remember you'd be like, oh, check out this kid. Check out this kid. Because it wasn't my nature. And then other things were my nature. I took the best of you and the best of me, I combined it, and I became Diane Hochman. Diane Hochman, the name, not Diane Hochman, the person. So many people are looking for the way, quote unquote, the way. And you made a living being incredibly unique in a world where everybody's told they have to duplicate and they have to do it a certain way. How did you know to go out? I mean, you were like the first authentic guy guys, I could show you pieces he wrote 15 years ago. Well, I did. Actually, Joe, you know what I put up? I put up your Keymaster letter. Do you remember it?
Yeah, sure.
And everybody cries when they read it. I can show you pieces he wrote before the internet, what it is, predicting. Hey, by the way, he used to make these acronyms and abbreviations for everything. And then when texting came out and everybody talked in acronyms, I just started laughing because he was so ahead of his time that I'm sure you were shunned by people. I'm sure you were, like, I've had many people just be like, she's crazy. I'm sure you were shunned by people. I'm sure you were maybe looked down upon for doing things in your way or a different way. Do you have anything to say about that? Because I think there's so many people right now, like everybody thinks I have to go live this time every single day. And I have to dribble on about something. And most of the people who are doing it haven't made a dime, yet they're online doing a Facebook Live about how to make money online.
If you're asked, induced, required to do things that are not your nature, you're in the wrong program. And you have to give yourself permission. Somebody needs to write this down. I'm going to give myself permission to quit this program today. I'll save myself thousands of dollars in tears. I need to quit XYZ program today. I don't care what people think of me. I'm not a quitter. I'm alive. And I know I'm alive because I refuse to do what they're asking me to do, which is against me morally, spiritually, physically, and mentally. I'm not up for it. I'm not up to it. I quit more programs than I joined. I quit more programs than I joined. It didn't take a lot to get me to join. I would join you, but I had no problem with quitting. I'm very open-minded. I might even play with you for 2 weeks or a month and join your program. But if I'm asked to put on a 60-pound backpack that I can't carry, I'm out. I tried it. It didn't sit well with me. I'm not a quitter. They taught you in school, if you don't get an A, you don't count. They taught you on the internet, if you back away, you're a quitter. You know, those are all set up rules by people that are trying to control you. Control yourself. Control your own legacy. Control your own integrity. What?
The question is, you said I'm not a quitter, right? Because you're not quitting on yourself. You're believing in your own dignity and who you are and finding the place.
Correct. I'm alive.
Here's another Schroeder.
I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. I'm living.
And finding the place where tolerated, not tolerated, which is another.
Correct.
You taught me.
Correct.
I'm not celebrated in this place. Who I am, how I speak, what I do, my being isn't celebrated in this environment.
That's right.
That's the environment for me. That's not quitting. That's believing in yourself enough to go find a home that feels right. That feels right.
Johnny Cash, the singer, quit his publishing company. George Michael, the singer who died at age 52, went to court to break the contract of his publisher. So did Elton John. So did Elvis Presley. So just as they did that to preserve themselves, there's programs and publishers that you've got to get rid of as well to preserve yourself, to make better equity of who you are and what you have an aptitude to do.
See, I always thought as my work, as my art, as my legacy.
We should have paid for this call. The first 30 minutes should have been free, and then the rest should have been $500.
Well, I already told people it will not be recorded, but I will not release the recording for free. I said be here live or don't be here. Maybe we'll make this available in some capacity.
What's that thing they do on YouTube Live, and then people donate $5, $10?
No, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it.
If we do that, we can each walk away with at least $100.
Yeah, I know, and then we could have lunch sometime since we haven't in a long time. We can finance our Chili's gathering of your show.
There you go.
Oh my gosh!
This call has turned into be too good. We got to get off of it. Now it's getting serious.
I know.
Serious.
Let's do this. Let's go to the one that you wanted to do towards the end, and then if you want to talk more, we can talk more. But I'm getting. You know what happens? It's too rich. It's like the most delicious cake, that delicious cheesecake or something. It's so rich, so delicious, but if you go over the line, it's actually almost painful.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm cooked. So, I'm a cooked goose.
Just do this one, Joe. Do this one. When you're having a conversation, right? You're having a conversation with a prospect. Tell me about having a conversation with a prospect. What's really going on? What's the true dynamic? It's really not just...
When two people are having a conversation, 4 people are talking. When 2 people are having a conversation, 4 people are talking. The person that you're talking to is having a full conversation in their subconscious mind, and you're having a full conversation in your subconscious mind. What I learned how to do when I sold meat and seafood was I learned how to have a conversation with people, and there was only 3 people talking. I didn't let their subconscious talk because I was talking into their self-conscious. That's that. I can't teach off of that on this call.
Yeah, it's too big. It's just too big. And what's interesting is people will often say, they used to always say this about you, they say it about me. They're listening to a call, there's 500 people on it. And we say call because we're old. Today it's webinars and it's Zooms, there's this and that. But they're listening to whatever, and they go, you were talking to me. You were talking about me. Because they actually believe that we're talking about them, even when we're dealing with a large group, because we've become so skilled in talking into somebody's subconscious. So whether it's one-on-one or whether it's a group, most marketers are operating on a very, like the top layer. Hi, do you want to join me? You know, no, I don't want to. Okay, well, why not? And then they go off and they think, oh, that guy's stupid. He doesn't get it. There's so many more layers of communication, which is why I'm the only weird bird, Joe, that insists on people learning communication and teaches them communication as opposed to how to build a website. Because a website that doesn't understand what the subconscious mind is thinking when the person arrives has zero value. Zero value. Zero
because
value.
the communication is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Because you have to anticipate, and those of you that are in my course right now, what did I harp on you the other day? You're not keeping a notebook. You're not thinking about what these people are thinking. You're not really studying your prospect and your market. You're just trying to sell them crap. And when you're just trying to sell them crap and you don't understand what's going on in their heart and their soul and in their subconscious mind, it doesn't work. Many of you have learned that very hard. Somebody just asked, and I'm just going to give him grief. They said, what book on psychology do you recommend? I'm hoping that they got here late because we did show Joe's book, The Disciplines of Doership,
Right.
Amazon.
Right.
Amazon,
right.
Disciplines of Doership by Joe Schroeder.
Right.
The book. Okay, that's his.
Right.
It contains pretty much everything.
That's my book on That's Joe Schroeder's book on psychology.
Now, let me
Disciplines of Doership.
a couple tips on that, and then we're going to wrap it up. Unless you have, I'll give you the closing word, guys. That book is like drinking out of a fire hose in the very best way. And this is what my mentor Joe, my uncommon mentor, taught me, because I'm not a good reader, guys. I'm a smart girl. I think I'm a very smart girl. But I grew up in a day where they didn't understand what ADHD and all this other stuff is. And I don't know what I got, but I got something. I'm very challenged with reading. And I remember I told him that because I thought you had to pick up a book and you had to read it cover to cover, and you weren't allowed to do anything else until you finished that book, because that's how it was in school. And he said, Diane, you're allowed to read a page at a time. In fact, you're allowed to have more than one book you're working on. You can have different books, but you are allowed. And with Joe's stuff, it's so dense, I highly recommend you read 1, maybe 2 pages. Don't try to read a whole big thing. Just try to read a little bit and then really, really, really go in there, make notes, highlight, because there's so much there that you're gonna frustrate yourself. And most of it is new concepts for a lot of you. Although I see some people are bringing up some biblical stuff, Joe, because I think people hear it inside of you, that that word in there.
I want to hear it. I want to hear the biblical stuff.
Let me see if I can find any more. There's so many comments. Let me see if I can find it. Just so you know. Rush. Yeah, I'm scrolling. See, the box of this thing is. Time. But just so you know, one of our former students from the March said that she worked for a newspaper, so she didn't go off into MLM. She worked for a newsletter, and she was winning awards for being one of the best copy headline people that she worked with. I think that's pretty cool. Just if you wrote anything about that type of stuff, rewrite it at the end so I can find it easy. Yeah, Nick, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about referring to, some people ask some questions about, maybe a proverb or something. For those of you that might have studied science of mind, biblical scholars and students, et cetera, some of this stuff will come easier to you if you've studied Proverbs, King Solomon. A lot of you guys have, checked out some of that stuff. Awesome. It'll be a little easier. But for some of you like me, guys, this was 100% new ideas to me. It was drinking out of a fire hose. And I'm preparing you because I don't want you to grab that book, look at it, and be overwhelmed. What I want you to do is be cool with reading a page and letting it roll around in your mind. Those of you that are members of my Deep Abyss on Thursday, the third Thursday of every month, it happens to be this month, we talk about a lot of these ideas. If you need that link, get a hold of me. And by the way, there is a recording of me and Joe in there. That's the last time he came out to really speak. That's really profound. And this is what I do. That's how I carry on our legacy. The Million Mind March, guys, we ran calls pretty much every night of the week, some in public. A lot of them were the private mastermind, and they were amazing. And my tip of the hat to my mentor is to run a monthly mastermind with these ideas and concepts and passing them on. This is a legacy I feel very obligated to carry this forward. And I think a lot of people today that know me came to understand me a lot more today by listening to you, Joe. And I can't thank you enough for what you embedded into me. But I will tell all of you, I worked my ass off to get it from him. I worked my ass off to get this man to dump his brain into me, and I still don't. I only have a speck of it. Cheryl says, Joe reminds me a lot of some of the different teachers from Eastern metaphysical reading. Eastern metaphysical readings. So she's read a lot of stuff, and she said, you're the Dalai Lama of marketing, so, which I think is pretty cool. So any closing thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I have a final comment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in meat and seafood, as you guys know. I've been in it for 30 years. And I buy food from a big wholesaler, and it comes in from 18-wheelers, and I have an office and a warehouse in a town where in a location. And a lot of times they're not very nice. They're not very nice. And I have to do a lot of politics, and I have to do a lot of psychology in order to get what I want. I say that to say this. Just because where you're at, there aren't the nicest people. Expect there to be not nice people. Expect there to be difficult people. It's called life. Just because your upline dumped you is not a reason to quit. Just because the owners aren't nice to you, that's not a reason to quit. And there's a whole bunch of people on this call that needed to hear that. My prosperity prospers you. Your prosperity prospers 10,000 people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Diane, can you end this call with a prayer?
I certainly can. As Joe just said, the warrior's prayer to himself. In fact, you know what, Joe? I happen to have something right here. I'm going to read something. I'm going to read the Doer's Creed of Influence.
Oh, boy.
Let me get my glasses, because I don't want to.
Oh, boy.
No, it's worth reading, Joe. It's worth reading.
This is a meditation. It's a meditation.
Back when we used to do this in the day, I didn't need the glasses. I'm an old lady now. But this is good. Okay, get ready. The Doer's Creed of Influence. I choose to be different because I'm an individual. I am proud of that. I am good. I don't play like others in the crowd do. I don't go where the crowd goes. I'm different. I will be understood by the 2% of America and misunderstood at times by the remaining 98%. And we do have a lot of Europeans on tonight, so it applies to your country as well. That's okay, because I'm part of the fellowship of the 2%, the people who create the positive force that shapes this great nation. And I will teach my children. No more maybes, no more games. Finally, the foundation has been poured. I have made my decision. I am now dedicated to everyone, not just to my family. I am a vessel now. I now believe that because as a fisher of men, I am at their service, their model, their friend. I now understand one of Joe's mystique character traits. He speaks increase, and Diane's, by the way. He speaks increase into other people. I'm now starting to see the hidden order of how certain people are so attractive. They speak heightened self-images into people and increase in forward speak. They are good news merchants. I am a genius. I am a diamond, and I will never, ever let up. I am now out of my old comfort zone. I will not back away, slow down, or ever complain about my mission and decision. I love my life between an amen and achievement for which I am proud. I love myself now enough to vote myself in. I love this because I now see that with every step that I take from now on, I will be creating the path for all of those who will follow behind me. Guys, this is the legacy that I'm talking about. I call this servanthood, the core of networking. I am done with small thinking, lack of planning, and past lack of discipline. I have been renewed. No more gossiping, no more cheap excuses, no more shame, no more coming from home without pay. No more working from home without pay. You can't save the whales if you can't afford to fish. In other words, I know deep down that without serious income and profit, both physically and spiritually, I will not be able to feed my real vision, which is to inspire 100,000 other people. I no longer need validation or applause from anyone because I am self-directed and a part of the 2%ers Club, the Focus Society at Warrior's Nest, which was the name of our organization. We swim together and as one. I don't have to be first. I don't have to be heard by all, and I don't care whether everyone likes me or not, because I now walk in faith, which is God's way of getting me to where I'm supposed to be. I am a diamond. My genius lives through me in my children and friends, and I dare say in the legacy that we leave behind. You now know why I do what I do. I will no longer seek to be in the popularity pool, and I know that my attitude and thoughts are contagious. I'm a winner, a visionary, and a leader. Only good comes from my lips, and my words heal the pain in the hearts of other people. I speak my word into existence, and I'm a leader. I know that this is true. I am a genius gathering my own I am, and a proud member of the Focus Society at the Warrior's Nest. Other alumni will never have a problem recognizing me as one of their own. I wear who I am in what I do and how I treat other people. My world is bountiful, and I am a fisher of hearts. I will imprint these ideals into everyone's eyes that connect with mine. Bury the words I can't today and speak your word into existence. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an afternoon with an uncommon mentor, Mr. Joe Schroeder. Thank you for being here. Take care, you all.